Peace, Ashe, Islam, Namaste, Hotep, Grand Rising, Assalamu alaikum, Walaikum salam, Boom dia, Oseo, Halito, Wagwan, Shalom, Konnichiwa, how are the children? Hotep, Unjambo, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum. Whatever the greeting is in your respective language, I am your humble brother Crumb here for another installation of Crumb TV. Family, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now what it is. This is Tina Turner. Rest in power, rest in peace. No disrespect. But this is Ike's Revenge. But before we get it started, I want to put some respect on my brother's name and, just acknowledge the family. Um, Good brother, let me see, M.O.I. Can you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at, of course?
Peace and light, fam. Y'all know what it is, man. Welcome to Crumb TV. The platform is about to be lit today. Get your pen to your pad. Definitely follow me on Instagram at Minister Informing if you have not already. And then smash the subscribe button, man. We're in the building. Peace.
Good brother Palmetto, can you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at?
Well, if you hear my voice and you're part of the revolution, I love your introduction with greetings. Let me greet how we greet Black supremacy. You can hit me up on Instagram, Win the Revolution. I'm on Twitter as well, Palmetto_star. And Two Raw for TV airs every Thursday on blogtalkradio.com/Two Raw for TV at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
Absolutely. I also want to introduce the family. Now, within the first 2 minutes, we got about 40 people, 45 people in the room, which is just too many to name. So, it's a number time situation. However, I do want to acknowledge the first three people. Well, actually, I want to acknowledge everybody. We call these the first responders. If something goes down, whatever the case may be, these people are always on point. However, the first three of those people are the ones who will acknowledge. We call those the first responders. I'm sorry, excuse me. We call that the perfect trifecta. The first three. But so yeah, number one in the building, it's Music Land HQ 82. He says, peace and love, Crumb TV family. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Number two in the building is Cosmic Cutie. She says, peace and powerful love. That means a lot, family. I better tap all the way in. Number three of the perfect trifecta is RSG DV Minor. He says GBM. Let me see, can I decode that? GBM. I thought it was like something like Grand Rising. But nonetheless, family, I see y'all. I appreciate y'all. Just like the minister was saying, tap all the way in. Real quick, in the first 5 minutes, we try to do housekeeping. That's where we allow people to come in, drop your likes, drop your comments, whatever the case may be. This is your particular time to do that. So within that particular time, I also want to let the family know that please, please, please tap into the Juneteenth event starring M.O.I himself, the Minister of Information. Tickets can be purchased at crumbtv.info/events. That's right, family, crumbtv.info/events. Now, I believe there is no more space. I do want to say, unfortunately, that is the scenario. But you can still get those live stream tickets, family. Get your live stream tickets, not now, but right now. That's crumbtv.info/events. It's the Juneteenth retreat, but we're calling, family, I don't want to say F Juneteenth, but family, you can put it together. You already know what it is. So with that said, let me start this thing off respectful. Because we give honors to the ancestors, we venerate the ancestors, we have no issues with the ancestors. We are at peace in the physical and the spiritual. Now, with that said, rest in peace, Tina Turner. For the gentleman, I wanted to bring everybody up to date. Tina Turner has officially passed away. I believe it's been like 3 days now, 4 days, something around that time frame. It's still pretty recent. So I just want to acknowledge her for that. However, there's a lot of information around Tina Turner other than the headline story, if you will. Um, I wanted to reference this particular article, and that'll be the way we get started. And we can all just kind of chime in at your leisure. Let me see if I can get it up here. All right. So this article, could you scroll to the top, good brother Palmetto?
Mm-hmm.
So this article is titled Tina Turner, Blackness and Africans. A complicated legacy. Now, for all intents and purposes, we know what they're talking about. So let's continue on. So it says Tina Turner died yesterday. This article is a couple days old. Tina Turner died yesterday at 83 years old. According to her daughter-in-law, Afida Turner, who speaks, who spoke to French media a few months ago. Her health was already deteriorating. The last years have been very tough on Turner. In a matter of 5 years, she lost two sons. Her eldest, Craig, who committed suicide, and Ronnie, her youngest, who passed away a year ago. No No mother, no matter where she comes from, dreams of burying their children. With with age, life shocks become even more brutal to handle for the elderly. There is no doubt the death of her sons accelerated her own transition into the other world. Could you scroll up a little bit? Can you also make the text a little bit bigger? I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me see if I could make the
You can
text.
probably hold control, tap plus to do the zoom in function.
Okay. Control
Yeah,
plus.
just hold control and tap plus once or twice.
Mm.
Well, either way, you can just scroll up and I'll continue reading.
Scroll up.
Yeah, just a little bit, so I can see that whole second paragraph, and then we'll tear her ass up. I'm just joking. Okay, Turner was an uncomparable force of nature. She was one of the greatest at a time when only extraordinary and extremely talented people were allowed to make it in the industry. Her death comes along with images, flashbacks of her presence singing next to Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, and many more guests in the 1980s. Most of them are now gone, and no one in the new generation, which is synonymous with mediocrity, ever managed to follow after them. Her voice was recognizable among many, but it was also her story of survival which captures audiences. Her memorable personal history was beautifully portrayed by legendary actress Angela Bassett. However, if musicians are mourning Tina Turner, the latter had a complex relationship with her black community, blackness, and Africans. Black Americans accused her of trying to dissolve herself from her heritage. Ike Turner, her ex-husband, who was also violent with her, claimed that she was ashamed of being black, as she was reluctant to hiring black employees in her tours. Tina herself said she wished she was white. Tina Turner said that. It is important to highlight the fact that Tina Turner came from the old school and knew the brutality of life in the United States. She recalled that as a child, she, along with her family, used to pick cotton. Let me stop right there. I'm gonna breathe. M.O.I, can you talk black to me? I'm just joking. What do you think, brother?
Damn. Without going too much like Dr. Umar Johnson, it definitely sounds like she's had a inferiority complex about her blackness. I don't think that the violent atmosphere had anything to do with her not liking black people. But I will say that I think she just didn't like black men, which is kind of echoed now with a lot of black women. So I I think her plot was with black men and not the entire black race. But here in that article, and I know later we're gonna talk about her relocating to Switzerland.
Come
It
on.
might sound like she just hates the fact that she was black altogether, which I would like to dig into the psychology of why. Like what happened to her to make her? And you gotta think like before she got into the rock and roll and all that kind of shit, a large amount of her followers were black people. And if you take
Teach.
note, Beyonce took her cues from Tina Turner. Look at Tina Turner's performance. Look at Beyonce's performance. So a lot of black people took their cues from her. So I don't know. It's reflection.
Uh, good brother Palmetto, what say ye?
Well, she was traumatized in living in the South, being black, and a lot of people responded at different ways. And then, like, you don't want to be black. She moved to a clearly predominantly pink place with Switzerland. She helped
This motherfucker.
negative portrayal of black people with the movie What's Love Got to Do with It. And she was actually sued in the 70s by the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And her and Ike actually got into a physical brawl in the 70s, 1972 to be exact, with the Black Panther Party chapter in Oakland.
Okay, you going fast. You going fast. I didn't think you were gonna get there that quickly. Okay, real quickly. No worries. Absolutely. Good brother Crip Jesus, could you introduce yourself? Did you hear that first paragraph? Well, that last little segment that I was reading, brother. Just unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. That's what made me have to get up in here. Yeah, for sure. Like M.O.I said, man. Shout out to Palmetto. How you doing? Peace, brother. Uh, I can just say from my personal, like what I used to, the rumors and what I used to watch and what I used to gather. She may have said these things and they may have echoed the truth, but it seems what she expressed and what got shown through them years was an issue with man. And we see this a lot in the black community. We see it on both sides. It's not just a woman thing. You see a lot of black dudes who didn't have a good big homie or a good mentor or a good father to show them how to deal with women. And it's F black women this, F black women that, F black women this, F black women that. You see it on both sides, just the weakness. So from my own investigation, I don't know her personally. She was pregnant with another man's child and had the child when she met Ike. Then she got pregnant by Ike and she wanted to leave him. And that's when he first hit her, meaning that you can see this pattern here. You understand what I'm saying? Poverty, struggle with the black man, the black woman. And we see this a lot. We see this a lot. You know what I mean? All it takes is one or two bad relationships. It's all the black men, all the black women. You know how that shit go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Classic baby mama, baby daddy drama. Let's just call it what it is.
Absolutely. Yet she was never vocal about issues with which plagued her community. She often acted as if they did not exist to a certain extent. While Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Nina Simone in the jazz world denounced it, Turner did everything not to be blocked within the black group she wanted to escape from. Her experience with the black community was not all positive at all. She endured abuse from black men and probably longed for a certain freedom. Indeed, it is no secret that many black actors or singers in Hollywood try to distance themselves from the black group for fearing of being externally trapped there and losing opportunities, or their white appeal, I guess I could say in so many words. In a 2000 interview, Turner confessed that growing up, she simply shrugged off racism. I quote, going to a back door never bothered me. And she goes on to say, she also shrugged off the occasional slurs. Period. Continuing quote. It was just kind of, I'm sorry. I just kind of feel, well, yeah, I'm black. I've never been bothered by my color. If the world was like that, maybe there would be more harmony and love, she said, end quote. Uh, extending her opportunities extending her opportunities outside the black world was not problematic per se, but her constant disassociation from a black group which somehow gave her access to fame was. And let me pause right there, and I'll say this, which I know we're all thinking. A lot of people, they come in through the so-called black community, and then once they reach a certain level of success, they experience the crossover where they stop appealing to their so-called black audience and they start appealing to the so-called white audience. And she said she had no problem with abandoning the demographic that got her to where she's at, like so many other artists do. I want to, for me, stop right there and breathe a little bit and ask the brothers if they could weigh in, uh, if you don't mind, starting with the good brother M.O.I.
I'm gonna say one word. I want you to pull it up and everybody read it out loud. Psychonegrosis. It's called psychonegrosis. If you read the definition of psychonegrosis, everything you just said echoes how she feels. And that's what I got to say about that. Psychonegrosis. Learn.
Good brother Palmetto, what say ye?
I think it's crazy when people shrug off, like Tina Turner said, shrug off racism. People spitting on you, calling you nigger, doing all that stuff like that. But when it comes to infractions that you perceive with your counterpart, the black man, is magnified. All of a sudden, it's the worst thing ever. It's what I'm saying? Like it's the worst thing. He's spreading cake all in your face. A lot of these things, you know, that were portrayed, it didn't go down like that. And then you see how she is just like, anti-black now. And she shrugs off racism. How can you shrug off a one bad thing and then magnify supposedly something else that's bad when black people do it? So it's, to me, it's self-hate 101.
I want to go a different route with this. Me being Crip Jesus and it being Sunday, and us having a little bit of mercy and whatever else I could bring to the table here. I do not disagree. I just want to offer a different perspective. I think that we live in not only an era, but we live, especially the time that we were born and who we are and what we represent, even on this channel, that what we're looking at is a harsh reality. This is how the average person reacts to that type of treatment. We're coming from the thought process of, you get what I'm saying? We're dealing with people who are followers of Malcolm X right here in this conversation. More science people in this conversation. You feel what I'm saying? 5%, I'm going around saying I'm God in this conversation. The average person doesn't think like that. Average person doesn't have that much confidence. Matter of fact, the average person isn't even raised to even, you get what I'm saying? Like, Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites. I think a lot of people forget that. So it got to come from somewhere up in you. And the truth is, there's a lot of women, I would say way more than we can get on this social media in front all we want to. Hey, happy Father's Day, peace, King. There's a lot of women that feel exactly how she feels. There's a lot of sisters who, when they done braiding their homegirl hair for 5 years, and they finally get that fucking college degree, you don't see them no more. I got cousins like that. Oh yeah, plenty of them. And they put their kids in a private school, and they could care less. And they love talking about how they're done with the ghetto and they've moved forward and they've elevated their life and they're not dealing with that drama no more and play Mary J. Blige, no more drama in my life. As a matter of fact, for them, it has no contradiction with their blackness. For them, it's part of their blackness. It's almost like the Jay-Z move or something. It's like you get to a certain point and you're moving on up to the east side. to a deluxe
Okay.
apartment in the sky. This has been part of the black community for a long time.
Let me
Right?
let me continue on. It says extending her opportunities outside the black community was not problematic per se, but her constant disassociation from a black group which somehow gave her an access to fame was. A drastic change can be observed. With Ike, her entourage was black, but once she totally crossed over in Europe, Turner was surrounded by an all-white team. She even distanced her relationship with her children, except for Craig. Can you scroll, please? Once she re- once she revived her solo career in her 40s with a voice stronger than ever, she managed to increase her popularity in Europe. There, Europeans, whether French, Italians, Brits, Germans, loved her for her image and sound. Her aesthetic was rooted in the colonial cliches white Europeans have regarding exorcism. Tina was sexy, beautiful, had beautiful legs, but she had this tiger in her with white Europeans love so much in black artists. In constant need for exorcism, the European fans enjoyed these cliches that Tina gave them. Turner never really acknowledged the contribution of her Black American fans to her success, excuse me, but rather claimed that Europeans loved her much more. Till this day, her duet with some dude, an Italian pop rock, brother, can you scroll? An Italian pop rock singer remains a classic in the old continent. It was a powerful tune.
I seen that
Um,
video. Oh yeah.
I would say um, outside of
Very
her,
Afro-futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
I would say outside of her songs with Ike, I don't know Tina for anything outside of uh, what she did in the 80s. I don't know nothing about no European whatever. I didn't even know Europeans went hard for her. I thought we were the ones who went hardest for her in terms of a core audience. But let me go with the good brother Palmetto and see what he says on this one. What say ye, brother?
Well, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna go a little bit outside of what you guys would think I would say about this, because a lot of times when black women, they're beautiful, but they don't have all the features that you would think that a black woman would have. Sometimes it gives them a sort of a complex. And Tina was a beautiful woman, but she didn't have that. She didn't have that backside. She wasn't blessed with that backside, you know. And I think a lot of times when women don't have ass, and it's like you see now all these women getting BBLs, you know, because they want to emulate that sort of African aesthetic. But when they don't have that, there's a sort of an issue they have with themselves, inferiority complex of some sort, and I think that was what she was dealing with a little bit too, because she was a beautiful woman, but I think she wasn't, as far as like different parts and stuff like that, she didn't have any ass, so I think that deals a lot with black people, black women's mental. I mean, that's just what I see in Atlanta a lot too. It's like it's weird.
Crip Jesus. She said they fuck
Yes,
with her
sir.
harder over. She said they fuck with her harder over there than we do over here. What say
Hmm.
ye?
100% facts. It's not just her. What you're hearing now, once again, is a more harsh realities. There's no artist you can name to me, and I challenge you. What artist can you name to me that's popular in America that doesn't sell more in Europe? Not just her, just period. Even rappers that say "What's up, nigga?" all day in their songs.
Well,
What's the highlight of a let's just go hip hop of a rapper's career? That European tour, huh?
Mm-hmm.
When he does that European tour. I don't know how you are into music, Crumb, but that's a known thing. That European tour is the bag. So
yeah,
her trying to
I've
single
heard
it
that.
out and make it a thing for her, that's more of her bullshit. Everybody's bag is bigger in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Everybody gets
mean,
fucked with more in Europe. Huh?
yeah, arguably, 6ix9ine bag is big, but that don't mean we really rock with him. I was saying like
No.
her.
You brought the perfect artist. Nobody cares about 6ix9ine in America. It's all his European bag.
Well, that's my point. Just because we buy your album, sometimes we're laughing with you. Uh, I'm sorry, laughing at you, not with you. Um,
I'm going
I
even harder for you. Hold on, let's drop this one. Just to show the people that what she's saying is just more of perception. That's why I said that last one. Let me switch your perception. I'm gonna say it. I know a lot of people going. I don't care. Have you ever heard of Pop Smoke before he died?
Mm.
Tell the truth, Crumb.
no,
No,
I don't
exactly.
know. Maybe
He was
I don't
big
think
in the
so.
UK. UK American artists are big as fucking UK. Ain't got nothing to do with her being black. That's her trying to switch the narrative and make it some white love shit. All artists are bigger
I
in UK. That's American.
I think, even though I'm not sure, what's going on with the UK or whatever, but I think we rock. She's her diehard fans are here.
I
You
don't
understand what
know.
I'm saying?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm young and I've seen
Right.
that video with her and that weird looking dude plenty of times when I was growing up.
Yeah, yeah, okay, no
She's
problem.
very big in
But
the UK. I wouldn't sleep on that.
yeah, I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing in my 2 cents. But yeah, so this
What
is
we got
from
over
Judge.
here? What love got to do with it? Rolling down the river? That's all I remember.
What well, let's just move forward because I know we got a lot of people on the line and we got a lot more content to discuss within this thing.
Oh shit.
This
Okay.
is Judge Joe Brown. Um, and this is what he had to say because I know a lot of times when we say things like Ike's revenge, they're going to say that, well, Ike beat her and Ike was a violent person and Ike was bad and this whole demonization. Let me see if I can get this thing to play. Hopefully you guys can hear it. This is what Judge Joe Brown had to say about Tina Turner in terms of the violence between her and Ike.
I don't hear nothing.
Yeah, I can't hear it that well.
Hold on. Oh, sorry. I see what I did. Sorry about that. Let me take that off. All right, I'm gonna will it back. Here we go. Rolls Royce, and if you made the bad mistake of confusing the two vehicles. Damn, Gina. I'm sorry. Hold on. My bad. European Jesus. Tina Turner drove around in a matching Rolls Royce, and if you made the bad mistake of confusing the two vehicles, she'd roll the window down, cuss you out, spit at you, tell you you weren't worth a goddamn, and she would treat you like dirt. He went back, that witch Tina Turner came out the door, started cussing at him. He started talking to her, saying, please, there are children around. Stop that. Please, there are children around. Stop that. She wasn't mad at him about a woman. She was mad at him because he had a writer's block on a song they were working on. She wound up coming out and hitting him as hard as she could, it looked like, with one of these heavy cast iron head rakes. We thought she had done him some serious harm. Yeah, we saw that. I saw her when she was standing in line at Ralph's Market on Crenshaw Boulevard at the railroad tracks. There were 4 little high school girls went to Dorsey. I was in college, a senior at the time. Tina was standing in front of them. One of them got the nerve. Tina turned around and called her a sleazy, greasy bitch. Don't ever talk to me unless I give you permission. The girl started crying. That's why I don't have any respect for that woman, because Hollywood sat there and tried to run a game on Ike.
Ike and his new about, because Ike Turner was an upstanding man and that sleazy heifer. Oh, and I don't even talk about what she used to do when she was a pimp in Memphis. And when I got here back in the early 70s, and I started getting clients who were scared of that person because she was a gorilla pimp. Because she was a gorilla pimp. Because she was a gorilla pimp. Yeah. Let's talk about that. That's how I can talk about a real man who stopped every time he got over and over and would talk to all of the young boys in the hood about being straight, getting your studies together, paying attention to being crime-free, and listening to your parents.
Did you hear it that time?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, according to Judge Joe Brown, what happened was if you would have mistaked her Rolls Royce for a BMW, I don't know what type of cars, she would spit on you and cuss you out. Tina Turner had a very nasty attitude. She was, in his words, a gorilla pimp, very aggressive. Ike was an upstanding man who tried to get her in line to no avail. Brother Palmetto, I wanted to get you to weigh in on that. That's a lot to take in. What say ye?
That seems exactly right. I mean, she really didn't get her hits until she totally ran Ike's name through the mud. You know, Ike died in 2007, and that movie had been out, totally messing up his name. Like, how can you come back from that? How can you come back from a whole movie, showing you as and betraying you as this sort of character? It's not you, and you can't. How can you come back from that? It's almost reminiscent of COINTELPRO, how they always just throw the most salacious sort of thing on our leaders. They say, "Oh, well, he just molested a child, or he just raped this woman," and then it's like there's certain accusations that they put out there that is hard to come back from, and hard to retract. So until she totally threw his name under the mud, that's when she started getting her hits, like What's Love Got to Do with It, which came before the movie, but everybody knew the whole story prior to that song. So she totally ran his name through the mud and had to use him as a springboard for her further fame.
Absolutely. M.O.I just got back. I wanted to pass him the mic. Good brother, did you hear any of what I just read?
No, I actually lost service. I'm back on Wi-Fi now, so I'm a little bit removed from what y'all just said in the last 5 minutes.
Real quick, I'm gonna pass the mic to Crip, ask him what he thinks, and then M.O.I, I'll just give you a refresher.
Right.
Crip Jesus, what was on your mind?
My bad about that. So we were talking about what Judge Joe Brown said about her, and I'm gonna be 100, man. Let's just take it there. There's things that need to be said that can't be read, right? You know what I'm saying? Within the black keyword here, black, for the people that's like, that don't know, I'm saying the black relationship, you're already coming in on both ends with issues, regardless of the love issue. Like, I think a lot of that shit we focus on is bull, like who's cheating, who even cares about all that. You're already coming in, you're a dude that doesn't know nothing about how to do this the right way. And you're a woman, don't know how to do this about the right way. And you go through things. And once again, this is the harsh reality. The true reality is there's a lot of quote unquote black couples that have physical violence going on between them, where it's both sides. It's deeper than just the dude on the woman, or the woman, or it may be the woman who doesn't get physical, but she says the craziest things and loves to rile him up and loves to, yeah, I'm all ha ha ha, and I fucked your homie. There's levels to this, right? And I see here another sad version of the same old story I've seen a million times going on. But once again, it's I don't know if it's Tina, her publicist, or the people that sit around her. Somebody wants to take each story, wrap it up in a little bun, and sell the shit. That's the problem, if you ask me. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z and Beyonce get into it. Uh, Mary J and them Jodeci nigga was getting into it. Will Smith and Jada get into it. Come to find out later on, they shit even worse than we thought. You know, there's nobody getting out of this unscathed. So what happens here is we have an immaturity on her end, if you ask me. Like her constant need to push it, her letting them people ruin. She still had his last name on her when she let them make that movie, man. You feel what I'm saying? The
Right, right.
attack on the black man is go too far sometimes.
Totally agree. So MOI, we just played a clip of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown said Tina Turner had a very nasty attitude. Tina Turner would spit on you if you called her Rolls Royce a BMW or something in terms of the name of the car, something to that effect. He said Tina Turner was a violent person herself. And I know that we really portray her as a victim, but I just wanted you to kind of, if you wanted to weigh in, this is coming from Judge Joe Brown on a personal level. Could you weigh in? Was there a victimization of her, and it was mischaracterized or overcharacterized, or was she a woman that was probably off the chain? I don't know. What do you think? Uh, just hit that good unmute button.
Can you hear me now? You hear me? All right. So I kind of want to go back to what the good brother Crip was saying because it kind of jogged my memory on some stuff, right? And just because we are quote unquote black men having this discussion, we're biased towards Ike. Uh, Domestic violence is never okay. I have daughters, so I don't condone domestic violence. You guys got to put hands on one another, then it's probably time to let it go. We got to keep in mind the era and time that it's in. And I'm only speaking on the plight between her and Ike, right? We got to keep in mind the era, the time we was in, right? You had people like Ike. Ike was notably known as a woman beater, hitting on Tina. Ike comes out of an era, and again, it's not making an excuse for him now. There's no excuse for violence or violent behavior, but we have to talk about both sides of the coin. The 70s, late 60s and the 70s, and of course, y'all know I'm about to go into the history. There's always some history behind some shit that we don't want to talk about, but the history of the era of time is there was the era of pimps. In fact, if we were talking about the movie Dolomite or the Mac, we would probably be high-fiving the pimps, the fact that they treated women the way they treated women. Prostituting them off, slapping them, beating them, kicking their ass, taking their money. That was that was okay in the black community for a long time. And again, I'm not excusing Ike's behavior, but Ike comes out of that era where woman beating was kind of just a thing. You know what I'm saying? And another thing Crip said was that I agree with. Everybody got issues. Had Ike and Tina been motherfucking Ike and Anna Mae married with 4 kids living in Buckfuck, Milwaukee, nobody would have cared. There's a lot of Ikes and animes out there right now in 2023 that nobody knows about. But because of their popularity, of course, it got catapulted. It got blew up in the media. And what I'm waiting to hear, which I'm pretty sure we may not get to today or we should talk about, is who was in Tina's ear the whole fucking time? Telling her, hey, bitch, listen, you do lead this nigga, keep that name. The name got some money behind it. Matter of fact, we're gonna blow that name up. There's people in her circle and corner that we haven't even mentioned that came across yet. We're making it all about Ike and Tina when there's a lot of people involved in the situation. I guarantee you, the record label she ended up going to was involved. Her manager was involved. There's several other characters that are not being mentioned that was involved. Now, the movie portrayed Ike kind of like on guard about the whole situation. Like, oh, wait a minute, take my fucking name. It's my goddamn name, which it is. The name value. Another point in case with dealing with names and notoriety. Freeway Ricky Ross, the real Rick Ross. When he got out of jail, he came after the rapper Rick Ross. If you guys haven't noticed in the last 5-6 years, Rick Ross don't call himself Rick Ross no more. He calls himself Rose. He changed his name to Rick Rose. Now, when they went to court, the judge told the real drug dealer Rick Ross that you have lost the rights to your name. And also Rick Ross took his name. This is the same thing we seeing with Ike and Tina. Ike took his name. I mean, the entire name. The fact that he called her Tina Turner and not Ike Turner. So I think that we have to unpack everything around the situation, bro. And again, I'm a little bit removed from the article you read a little while ago. So I'm speaking from a perspective of understanding that once we drill down on the history of it and look at the people behind the curtains who I'm pretty sure were involved in this whole situation, a new story starts to develop. And this is not a story, a case of a good relationship gone bad. I think Crip said earlier where she had a child before she met Ike. She got pregnant by Ike. Like, there's a whole background drama behind this shit, man, that we don't know about or we haven't spoke to yet. And then my last point in case, when he said Beyonce and Jay, everybody got issues. Since Black Lives Matter movement started, since black people at large have been getting choked out, shot by the police, I want you to count on one hand how many celebrities that you know of right now that are popular said something. Nobody said nothing. Michael Jordan didn't say shit. Oprah didn't step up. Motherfucking Beyonce didn't step up. Jay-Z didn't. Nobody stepped up and said nothing in the entertainment arena because they cannot say anything as part of their contract to where they cannot say anything. So did Tina want to speak to matters back then? Probably. Was her views skewed about black movement and black lives back then? Probably. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to unpack everything around it, like the history around everything. And as we're talking to this live audience, it's also our responsibility to put the audience in time and space. And that's something that I always harp on, right? Putting them in time and space. Let's put them in the 1970s. A lot of people watching your feed probably wasn't even born to 90s. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So if we place them back in that time of reference to understand what the atmosphere was like, what the societal norms were like with pimps and hoes and all that, that shit was normal, bro. That shit was very, very, very normal. And
Well,
for a large part of the black community, it was accepted.
let me challenge the audience, family, and the listening audience, and for those who are going to catch this later. So that means in the comments later, answer. If you were alive in the 70s, then press 70. If you were alive in the 70s, type in 7. If live is over, 5 years later, you're listening. M.O.I. put the challenge out there. It's up to you to respond. Yes, I was alive in the 70s. Type 70. We need to know who was who.
Right. But that becomes an important catalyst because, again, like I said, if you guys have never seen the movie The Mac or Dolomite or any of those pimp portrayed movies, it was kind of the norm to slap a bitch real quick for getting out of line. You know, bitch, shut up. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of the norm. And again, I'm not putting anything behind that, but we have to talk about the whole thing in totality. And I'll end with this point real quick, right? Everybody that came out of the era with Tina, everybody suffered some type of physical or substance abuse. Nobody came out of that era with Tina Turner without being touched in some type of way by drugs or physical abuse. Now, did that make or break their career? Michael Jackson said, I think Crumb told me yesterday, Michael Jackson said, if he had to do it all over again with Joe beating his ass, he would do it again. That made him who he is. Is it right? It's not right. None of that shit is right. It's not right. And applause for Tina for making it out of that situation. A lot of women don't make it out of abuse. They end up getting killed and dying. Like, I have daughters, so she has my full empathy and sympathy in that regards of domestic violence. But when we look at the movie portraying Ike, again, a black man, and we already know, today we should know at this point, if you're a black man in Hollywood or in a Hollywood construct, if you're not gay or pretending to be gay, you are a threat. And they're going to demonize any black man by making them a gangster or a pimp or a thug. They're not going to give you your due diligence. Remember, what love got to do with it wasn't a Tyler Perry movie. Tyler's probably the only director besides Spike who gives black men that upper echelon portrayal. So none of us even knew who fuck Ike Turner was for real until we saw the movie.
Well, M.O.I., I think we didn't crack the code. You said something I heard you say about 4 minutes ago. I've been holding on to. Oh, I read this, but you sparked the neuron back in my brain. They bought his name from her. This is what the whole scheme was about. They got his name through her. They couldn't get his name from him. He wouldn't have let them. So once she legally obtained his name through marriage, like you said, because I read this, I was reading shit saying, why are they saying Turner said to Ike? What the fuck? He's the Turner. Why would they refer and say Turner said to Ike? She's the official Turner now. And what we got to know going into our tribal Moorish science is Turner is the name of the Tunica tribe. Mm. And nobody in that Tunica tribe would ever sell their name to these motherfucking devils. So they got somebody that was married in through. I don't even think they were really even married. I think she was his baby mama. They got somebody affiliated, associated with him. Am I back? They hating. Is they hating? Am I back?
Yeah, you back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting this together right now. You helping me. Like we cracking codes right now. We on some high level conversation shit. Because from what I'm gathering from what you're saying, and what I'm gathering doing my math.
Look, watch this out. Her name probably got LLC. Like Ike was just Ike Turner, nigga who born Ike Turner, but Tina Turner is an LLC incorporated name. So of course he lost it. He should have copyrighted it. He didn't know, man.
But this is what I'm saying to the science that me and you both be on. They probably been wanted that name. Because the Tunica tribe. You feel a lot of people not putting all that together. Because I remember me and Crumb did when we did that Gullah Geechee one, and we showed the picture of him standing there, because we were talking about the Tunica tribe. So we was hooking up to Nat Turner, Elizabeth Turner, the prophet's mother, Empress Turner, Empress Verdiachi, she's a Turner. So they're all Tunicas. So when we showed him, he was standing there with a Hebrew chain on, looking real, regal and elegant. You could see why he'll slap somebody or get you could see he probably had a little, you know what I mean? Like he was very brute. And he knew himself. He knew his tribe. He knew his people. He knew what they were up against. And he would have never sold his name to them people.
Yeah, I agree. Crumb, do you mind scrolling down? Well, whoever's controlling the slide, scroll down just a little bit because I want to see the top of that in 1976 interview.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see that real quick.
In 19, okay, right here.
Yeah, scroll
hold
back.
On. Let me pull it up a little bit.
Okay, for sure. Take your time. All right. In 1976 interview, Tina called Africans lazy, saying that she did not vibe with the audience, that she hated the food, and she found Europe to be more fashionable and enjoyable. She despised the Africans. She also had no issue playing in a segregated South African when many other blacks and whites singers in the U.S. advocated for a boycott. She had a colonial view of Africa, considered them inferior, simple thought that white people in the white world were superior and much more interesting. I mean, do we need to go any fucking further with the psychology?
Yes, we do.
The motherfucker was crazy. He was fucking crazy.
Scroll back up just a little bit more, Palmetto. I wanted to read that paragraph that M.O.I skipped because he said something that was already in that paragraph. I was going to segue, but I wanted to stay patient. So if we go up just a little bit, I think it's two before that, please. This one and then the one before that.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah, scroll up a little bit more.
A little bit more? Okay.
Yeah, right there. That's good. I'm sorry.
Okay.
As she distanced herself from her black children, Turner found love with a German composer. At the end of her movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? After she defeated the big bad guy, which was no different than The Color Purple, she went past The Color Purple because her antagonist was a black man, just like Mr. in The Color Purple. But the protagonist in the movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? The good guy, the savior, was her white composer, German man husband. Her white zaddy, her white daddy, her white husband. And go back and watch the movie. That was the cherry on the icing of the cake. The movie typically ends with her in the courtroom, as Crip and M.O.I were saying, she won the rights to that name. That's in the movie. However, at the end of the movie, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, is her getting her white husband. Because yeah, her Jeremy husband, because that was the narrative that they were selling, and a lot of us, we were young at the time, so we didn't catch the symbolism with what we see often today with these white saviors, to the point that MOI was making earlier. But I'll pass the mic back. Palmetto, did you want to chime in before? I'm sure MOI and Crip got have a lot to say. Did you want to get a couple words in now that we pointed those things out?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows her anti-black sentiment, and once people get hit with that, then they start wanting to be white. They try to think along the lines of a European mindset. They become this white person in black skin, and that's what you see with her. That's exactly what was happening. And what a lot of times you see when people get traumatized, because Oprah Winfrey said that she wanted to be white too. So you have this is sort of like your test to go through that threshold. you know Oprah, they renounced her blackness, and then now all of a sudden you're accepted, at least a little bit, by the pink society.
Um,
Yeah.
MOY, she had a colonial mindset, and also she had a white savior. What say ye?
And because I wasn't on a little bit earlier, but I saw somebody had tapped into it again. I cannot echo enough about the psychoneurosis. The psychoneurosis says it's a mental disorder that affects the mind. I'm top of my head because I remember the shit. It's a mental disorder that's affecting the mental state of black people in their encounters they have had with foreigners. And those foreigners are being the Europeans. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Hold on, y'all.
Um,
Come back to me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
And now we're gonna wrap this up real nice and good. I'm gonna let you know something, Crumb. I thank you so much for this, because I didn't know it was gonna go like this. We have cracked the code. Because what's behind everything we're saying is all true. The psychoneurosis, the abuse, the self-hate, but it was all used by that same enemy in the cut to get our goddamn name. He wanted that name. He wanted that name. See, I didn't realize that, because me and Crown, we've been talking about this for months. If you really think about it, we've been talking about this Tunika and this turn in this name for a long time since we met. Whether you notice it now, you can go back to all the videos we've done. If you know, we've been talking about that for a minute. But what we never talked about was that these motherfucking devils own that name. I didn't know that, and they got it through her, and they got it by that's I don't know the name. I'm gonna go find it out. We might have to do a part 2 of the lawyer that was in her ear, making sure that she gets it. Like M.O.I said earlier. The real question is who was guiding this, because whoever was guiding it, they knew that was the goal the whole time. They knew that was the goal, though. They knew that was the goal post the whole time, because I can prove it to you. She's supposed to be the queen of rock and roll, right? Separate her from the real kings. Who's the king of rock and roll? Remember, they get rid of, push Chuck Berry back and put Little Richard. Push Little Richard in them back and put Michael Jackson. They're always trying to put someone they can completely control in that spot. Make sure they marry who they want, talk how they want, make sure they own every piece of it. I don't hear much about Tunika. Just like I don't hear much about Washington. Don't they own Washington? Don't they own Tunika Turner? You see what I'm saying here? These names that they own and control, it don't matter how much me, you, or M.O.I dig shit. Mm-hmm.
MOY.
Yeah. My thing is this right here, in the direction I was going before I was interrupted. I apologize about that, but was understanding again the history and the psychology behind this sister, because she's not the only artist, rock and roll, pop, rap, hip hop, R&B. She's not the only person that we have seen with this mind state who don't deal with black people. Other than them buying their albums and buying their cassette tapes and downloading their fucking music, all that kind of stuff. Even back then, right? There are not a lot of pro-black artists out there. We think they're pro-black because they're black. Like, they look like us. We can drive to their music. It sounds great. Blah blah blah. So Tina Turner's not the only other first person to do that. Hell, Michael Jackson was so hard pressed about Negroes, he changed his whole fucking skin tone in hair. He hated being black. You talk about Michael Jackson like that? Nope, he's the fucking king of pop, right? Little Richard said in an interview on a talk show, and he was talking regular. Now, this is a very intelligent brother, Little Richard. He said as long as he was pretending to be gay and acting like a woman, then white folk love him. Because those white girls at them shows were all in his face and trying to fuck with him. And the minute they realized this was happening, they stopped booking him for shows. But the minute he got into his Prince attire, because Prince took his cues from Little Richard. Now, everybody you just named, Chuck Berry, all the motherfuckers, James Brown, you know they all played background for Little Richard is the architect of all this stuff. Let's be clear about this now. Little Richard said as long as he was being a heterosexual male, he didn't get that play. But the minute he began to act like a homosexual male, that's when he started getting booked, started getting plays. So there's a game that most of these artists had to play. Now speak to the fact that Tina Turner had a dramatic.
I got hit him with a ooh teach.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
teach on
the
that one,
fact
man.
that Tina Turner had a dramatic influence. Now, that quote she said that black people are lazy, that was the exact same quote and sentiments of Loddard Stoddard. That was the exact, I can show you the quote where he said that exactly. That was the exact same quote and mindset of Johann Blumenbacher. That was the exact mindset of Samuel Morton. These are all dramatic anthropologists, pseudoscientists who had that mindset about black people. So that dramatic influence on her and he was probably showing her like, you know, misinformation in this history to help prove her case that you don't need to be around those people. People are savages, right? Remember that first film they showed in the White House with I think was Woodrow Wilson, I think it was, or Teddy Roosevelt, one of the motherfuckers in the White House. That movie about the Klan saving the white woman and the black man. The
Birth of
demonization
a
of black.
Nation.
There you go. Birth of a Nation, the original one. The demonization of black men have been going on for eons. And the fact that Tina now had become the fucking poster child for this exact same thing, to show black women, to show women across the world that these black motherfuckers are monsters, they're gorillas, they're apes, they're coons, they're good for nothing, they're lazy, they beat on women. Look at what they did to me. She became the fucking first advocate and poster child for what I would like to. You got to remember now, 1970s, what just happened early in 1970s, in late 60s, the women's right movement, the women's liberation movement came along. So Tina was right on fucking cue. She was to that movement back then. What's the brother name who got the knee in his neck?
George Floyd.
She was the female George Floyd at that time to make that movement pop off with women.
Oh, amen, amen. Yes, sir. 100%.
Do the research.
You didn't
Tina
crack
Turner
the whole
was
code,
George
M.O.I.
Floyd
That's exactly
back
what's
then.
going on.
And again, we have to look at who, and we get time next time or in the future. Let's start to Google who was her A&R, who was her road manager, who was her publicist, who was the camp around, because the camp around her won't be seen. That's the unseen hand.
Amen.
She out front. The unseen hand that was around her were all white people. So if you've been mistreated, and this goes back to the same thing with the slave mentality, right? If people around me or mistreat me, look like me, I get around people who don't look like me, who treat me good. That's the savior mentality. These individuals around her became her savior. They became the savior. The same thing that the influencers, I'm sorry, not the colonials used to do in certain territories. They would come in, they would feed the poor, they would help them out. And that would soften the view of them and make them appear to be the hero. So
Amen.
not only was her husband the hero, but he was a fucking handler. I'm done.
Hey, somebody said it sounds like the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation.
Come on now. And that's why I say it's been going on. Her white dramatic husband became her handler. I yield the floor.
Absolutely. It looks like you have muted yourself. Brother Palmetto, could you share screen again? Let's try to get through this article. I don't know if your mic is muted. Yeah, I was going to get you. If you could share your screen again.
You said, can I share the screen?
Please.
Okay. Yep. Hold on 1 second. Let me.
I think we're almost done with the article. Um, I think I'm not sure, but in the article it gives credit to say that because she's the queen of rock and roll. Some people say that it was Ike Turner who really started that whole rock and roll movement. Ike Turner put on BB King. Ike Turner put on what was that other guy Ike Turner put on? Um, uh, uh, the one who played the national anthem with his teeth. I can't
Jimi Hendrix.
remember.
Jimi
Jimi
Hendrix.
Hendrix. Right. Let me see. Did you? There we go. All right. So it says Turner made it clear uh, and had an aversion for the black world. Her reaction her reaction can stem from post-traumatic stress syndrome due to the violence she endured.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. There you go.
Her reaction can stem from post-traumatic stress syndrome due to the violence she endured, but she was far from being the only black artist to have suffered in her youth. Michael Jackson, as M.O.I. Referenced earlier, was repeatedly beaten by his father, Joe Jackson. The trauma led him to butcher his face and endure endless cosmetic procedures to look like a white man. However, Jackson was vocal for his community and held Africa in high regards. Stevie Wonder played several times there, was proud of his African lineage, and so did James Brown, who traveled to the Congo and had good exchange with the local tribes. Maybe can you scroll for me, please? Um, um, the local Congolese musicians back in the 1970s. Um, Most of the musicians cited above endured brutality in their childhood, but unlike today, where Black American culture is rooted in trauma, failure, and the bottom, sadness, and darkness by modern performative activities on social media. Wonder, Jackson, and Richie contributed to the Black culture and were adamant about showing its beautiful colors. That despite the pain and hurt, U.S. Blacks could create work, could create work, be joyful, celebrate, and love being themselves. Turner used her pain and never gave another chance to her community, which was the first to elevate her to the status of stardom. Could you continue scrolling for me, please? I think Crip Jesus is gone. Hold on. Let me find Crip.
All right.
Nope, Crip Jesus is gone. Um, Turner, Christina. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was just references.
Yeah, yeah. It's hold on.
That Well, I guess that was ultimately what we had in the article. Um, I wanted to ask uh, M.O.I. and then we'll end with Palmetto. Good brother, can you give us your final thoughts? Because they kind of ended on the same um, ideas that you were sharing about Michael Jackson, so on and so forth. Um, what are your final thoughts on Tina? You know, was she just a victim? Is there more to the story? What say ye, MOI?
Well, like I said earlier, and I continue to say that I'm not advocating for violence against anybody. I have daughters, and I would hate it for the young man that touched my daughter. First of all, so let's be clear about that. But when you're in a situation where there's other people involved, and I kind of hate the fact that we didn't really get down to the meat and potatoes about the people behind the scene. You get down to the meat and potatoes behind it, and we know the fact that this sister was under what's called psychoneurosis. It's not a DSM-5 diagnosis, but in the Black community, we need to understand that this is true. This happens in the Black community when we become, I don't know, we get higher education. The first thing we need to do is remove ourselves from the Black community and go run for the hills again in the white community. We want to disassociate ourselves and disenfranchise ourselves with our people due to the fact that we've been taught since we've been born of what equality is. White is the equal margin. I don't know who made that shit up. I don't know who came up with it, but we hear it our whole lives like we need to be equal. What made them the equal standard? I have no idea. So once we reach a plateau of feeling like we're equal to them, we begin to act like them and dress like them and talk like them and disassociate ourselves from anything that's dealing with niggerism, right? Now, Tina had her own priority. Her priority was to do just that. But I would bet to say the sister was sick, mentally trained, and physically abused. When you get a person in that state of mind, it's like a POW, which is a prisoner of war. The whole idea is to do exactly that. Physically and mentally abuse the individual to get them to yield to a certain thing. This is also called power, right? Because the definition of power is the ability to defy phenomenon and make it act in the desired manner. So whatever power influence that was over the system, the shit worked. Now, from a psychological perspective, as Black people, after reading this article and understanding that she was probably not our favorite pick, but what she did for the culture and her music influenced millions, Black, white, yellow, green, brown, whatever the color, situation was. Her music influenced the entire world. Her music also influenced people like Beyonce. As I say it again, family, you get a chance. Look at some of Tina's old performances and look at Beyonce's earlier performances, even down to the fucking style of dress, the legs, the thigh, because Tina has goddamn legs now. Look at them legs. Look how Beyonce moved. And Beyonce would tell you she took some of her cues from her. So with that being said, Tina's influence on our culture was very impactful and very positive. And as always, with our ancestors, we have to, because she's an ancestor now. She's transitioned and she's older than everybody on this live, I think. So as an ancestor, we have to give her her due respect. And I'll say rest in power. Thank you, Queen, for everything you did for the music industry. And I appreciate your platform. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I for your final thoughts on Tina, I accept that and I totally agree. Now I wanted to say the forces behind her, if we could talk about that a little bit. But let's take her out of the scenario and not make it so personal, being that she just transitioned. I would say that if I had to guess, the breakup of that group was very similar to the breakup of Rockefeller, was very similar to the breakup of Public Enemy, was very similar to the breakup of NWA. And if anybody, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Palmetto in just a second, but I want to get M.O.I.'s thoughts on the forces around it. And the reason I say Rockefeller, Public Enemy, NWA is because we know in a very public way that these successful Black, so-called Black groups operated uh, um, in a very high performing way until they came across Jewish management or Yudish management, or however you want to pronounce it. And it was M.O.I. who first really brought it to my attention. The most infamous being Chuck Berry, Etta James, because they were all on a particular Yudish record label. Can you talk about that for a second, and then I'll let you go. I think he's talking to somebody else. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, bro. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, once again, we have to look at the Judas around them. I use that word, the Judas people around them. And these Judas people around these individuals always had a strong influence or manipulation. And this is just manipulative power. And it's something I think we kind of started a while ago talking about this topic, but I'll be interested to see who was Tina's manager when she left Ike, because I don't know that answer to that question, but I'm willing to bet it was a Judas person involved with her. But they control the music industry. They control anything that they can leverage talent wise out of so-called Negroes. They take advantage of it, they leverage it, and they use it for their own personal gain. The Etta James, Chuck Berry, Muddy Water, Howlin' Wolf were all under influence. I forget the dude's name. The movie Cadillac Records depicted perfectly. You look at the James Brown movie, same way. Any movie of these rock stars or rock and roll Hall of Famers or these blues individuals have always been influenced by a Judas type person. And that's been happening since the time of the plantation. Since they heard these Negroes in the field singing, they plucked one or two out the field and made that the entertainment factor. And it's been going on since the Chitlin circuit. And Crom and I already covered this at length already before, but Tina Turner was on the Chitlin circuit with Ike. Tina didn't pop off like that. So this Chitlin circuit was when she first got exposed to this Judas crowd of individuals. And I think, my personal opinion, I do the research, I'm willing to bet that as she gained more notoriety, Ike only could get her to a certain level. So it was to her benefit, career-wise, to separate herself from Ike. Now, how she felt about that, I don't know. But I'm willing to bet y'all, man, $100, that's all I got in my pocket right now, that she was influenced by a Judas individual. Do the research and find out that these Judas individuals have been in our people's ear for a long, long, long time. And like you said, we're not gonna make it all about her and what she didn't do and what Ike didn't do. For me, this is a bigger story, it's a bigger topic, because I'm willing to bet you anybody in the future that passes away untimely death in the music industry, we can have the same conversation about everybody until we pass away. Hell, we can go back before Tina Turner's even born and had the same talk about individuals who had the same pathway, suffered abuse, got taken advantage of, and died around a bunch of white people. Michael Jackson suffered abuse, untimely death, died around white people. Who else we can name? We can name everybody. James Brown on through the centuries. This is a trend that we have to be conscious of and be aware of. Okay. I hope I answered your question properly.
Spot on as always, family. M.O.I said something. If you want to do your history, go back and watch the movie Cadillac Records. He just told you the movie. He didn't name the Jew guy name, but just go watch it and that's what M.O.I is talking about. Tap all the way in. Thank you as always. Before I let you go, brother, real quick, can you tell the family who you are, where they can find you at? Hit that subscribe button on his channel, family.
Oh, for sure. So on YouTube and on Instagram, the Minister Informing. Rock with me. I haven't been on my Instagram in a minute. I got to do my due diligence back on there. But Instagram at the Minister Informing, on YouTube, the Minister Informing as well, or the Minister Information. Look for my logo. Look for my pictures. A couple guys on there with the same title, but look for me specifically. And as always, since day fucking one, you can only find me on Crumb TV. Peace and light.
You heard it first, family. That's the Minister of Information. Put some respect on his name. Brother Palmetto, let's finish the conversation out with you. Is that okay, brother?
Yeah, that's good.
So, the bigger picture. All right. So, sure, something happened between her and her husband, because half the women crying about whatever happened will never get married. But anyway, her breaking up with her husband, it was Leor Cohen. Leor Cohen broke up Dame Dash, Rockefeller, and Jay-Z. Leor Cohen broke up Public Enemy. I forgot what the Jewish manager name was for NWA, but Ice Cube made a song about him, and whatever the case may be, even teamed up with Khalid Muhammad on that one. We see where there's I'm sorry, Cadillac Records, as M.O.I says. Is there a bigger thing in our music performance that they are leeching off of? They're breaking up our people. They're color purpling, demonizing our men. Can you speak on that real quick?
Yes, and rest in power to Tina Turner, and I don't deny the physical conflict, but let's make it plain. She sacrificed Ike's name for further fame. She sacrificed his image and his name for further fame. She had her next hit. She had a hit where at 44, and that's really unprecedented, as far as in the music industry, with what's love got to do with it. And before that, that song came out, she was on a campaign talking about their relationship and the physical abuse, and very anti-black things. And let's be clear, when you get to a certain level of fame, you have to either publicly or privately renounce black, and that's what she did. And it's, unfortunately, we don't have anything that we control as far as everything, because there's no way that these vultures should have a safe space inside of black music or in black culture. Black culture and black music should be a hostile place for culture vultures. And, so I want to say, with her passing and with that, it should be a lesson that when we create something, that it should be a very hostile place for anybody that wants to leech onto the culture, because it's obvious in the mainstream mayonnaise media and music industry that they have gotten into there and they have infiltrated. So we have to disassociate ourselves from that and create our own and make it a very hostile place for anybody that wants to come in there and co-create, or not co-create, really just steal. Let's just keep it real. They just steal and take from us, So I think it needs to be a lesson to that, what we have to do to go better, because we can always harp on what happened in the past and everything about that, but we have to know, we have to do better, and we have to take the lesson that was obviously put out there and learn from it, and then take it to a next level. So that's what I had to say about that.
Earlier you were also saying that she had an altercation with the Black Panther Party.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I wanted you, if you could just go over that one more time, and then give your final thoughts on this whole thing, if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, well, her anti-blackness has been a predominant thing throughout her whole career. And in the 70s, the Black Panther Party were approaching a lot of artists in the music industry, and really putting their foot down. In fact, that's what influenced James Brown to make "I'm Black and I'm Proud," because the Panthers came at him and they were like, "Hold up, man, what's going on? Why aren't you portraying a positive image for black people?" Da da da, stuff like that. So they did that to a lot of artists, and in fact they sued Ike and Tina Turner. They were suing Ike and Tina Turner in 1972, and they had got into a actual physical altercation with Ike and Tina Turner, the Black Panther Party, in Oakland. The Oakland branch of the Black Panther Party got into a physical altercation. So it's just been she's had a pattern of anti-black behavior. So, which, let's keep it real, I played into a little bit, because he was in the physical confrontation as well. But I think she took it a step further when she went for her second wind of fame, and really sacrificed the image and the Turner name. And I'll big time shout out to Crip Jesus and the M.O.I for putting some really good information behind the whole name and the Aboriginal context behind that.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I want to give a big shout out to you. You just broke a record for most push-ups in a minute.
Yes,
You had a very successful event with Malcolm X. Put some respect on his name, brother Palmetto. Too raw for TV. That's his thing. Very good. I'm very proud of the great things you're doing. Also, family, he was exactly right. M.O.I. Did a very good job. I want to put some respect on Tina's name. She's an ancestor now. Her name's not even Tina. Her name is Anime, which is not marketable at all. Anime is not a cool name. Anime, in the 90s, anime would have been played out. So Tina Turner, I respect because I gave her that name. I used the black community, and not use this in a bad way, but we loved it. We loved, taking Tina to the next level. Even if she turned her back on us and she had a lot of self hate or whatever issues she had, respect to the ancestors. Rest in peace, Tina Turner. Rest in peace, Ike Turner. Um, Rest in peace to all those who came before us. We give respect to the ancestors. With that said, shout out to Crip Jesus. He has a book out called The Blue Bible. Tap in for that on his Instagram. I think it's the Holy Crip Jesus. And he's also on YouTube, Crip Jesus as well. Brother Palmetto, before I let you go, where you at? Where can I find you at?
Well, you could find me, and I'm in the Revolution always 24/7. But on Instagram, I'm on Win the Revolution. That's spelled correctly, WINTHEREVOLUTION. Win the Revolution. On Twitter, I'm Palmetto_star. And also this Thursday, speaking of Crip Jesus, he's going to be on Two Raw for TV. From gangsters to gods, what is the Blue Bible? We're going to talk about that this Thursday on Two Raw for TV. So you guys tune in, blogtalkradio.com/Two Raw for TV. That's TWORAWFOUR TV. And I'm just here. The revolution will not be televised.
Well, with that said, I want to thank the good brother. I appreciate all that he does for our people. On fire, on 100% fire. With that said, I am your humble brother Crumb. This has been another installation of Crumb TV. I don't care where you're watching this video from, family. Wherever you're at watching this, subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to that channel and all the other channels in affiliation with it. But wherever you're at now, make sure you hit the subscribe button there. That's very important. Also, wherever you're watching from right now, hit the like button, family. Hit that like button. And drop a comment. Let me know. Was Tina 100% the victim? Is there more to the story? Is there greater forces at play in this situation? And it's not just the simple thing of abuse and music. You let me know what you think. Also, family, within the closing, I want to make sure that I mention if you want to support the platform, you can do that by taking the dollar challenge, and you'll take the dollar challenge on where is my thing at? Oh yeah, right there. You send $1 to Crumb TV. That's the Cash App. Money sign Crumb TV. Taking the dollar challenge. Let me see if I can just give a quick shout out to the people who have already taken the dollar challenge and put some respect on your name, because you really keep everything going, and we appreciate everything that you do for the information. People pay all this money for tuition and don't learn half as much as they do by the platform. BWW Corvallis, I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Jeremiah, he said, kick off the dollar challenge. Absolutely. Los, nope. Arthur, I missed the last challenge. Peace. Absolutely. Sharice, she said, fire class. Christopher, I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Gianna, I'm sorry. She says, I am goddess. She says, grateful. So if you want to take the dollar challenge, that's always appreciated. But you can also support for free, family. Actually, all you got to do is hit the like button. Crazy, right? Just hit that like button. It takes a second. It's free. It works for the algorithm. It does something to help people get the information. It's always something I'm grateful for. Also, comment, family. Let me know what you think, and hit that subscribe button, as I said earlier. The last thing I wanted to say is, don't forget, family. This Juneteenth, M.O.I is going to set the whole house on fire. You ever seen a house go on fire? You ever seen a whole house go on fire? M.O.I about to set the whole thing on fire. There is no more space, but you can always buy your live stream tickets. Go get your live stream tickets. It's basically F Juneteenth. F June, the whole thing, family. It's all garbage. It's all trash. The history's all jacked up. Even though I don't agree with DeSantos, get rid of the whole Black History thing. That whole slavery, Black History thing, that's not even half of it. So, yeah, we're going to do the Black History Destroyed technically, but it's for the Juneteenth. So go get your live stream tickets. You're not going to want to miss that. So with that said, family, I'm your humble brother, Crumb. This has been another installation of Crumb TV, and I want to leave you the exact same way I came to you. You are now watching Crumb TV.
You are now watching Crumb TV.
You're watching Crumb TV.
This is Prema Osset in Los Angeles, Leimert Park, and you are now watching Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
We're watching Crumb TV.
You are now watching Crumb TV.
I am the Grand Sheikah of Unity Temple number 84 of America, and you are watching Crumb.
Yo, this is that kid 179. You're now watching Crumb TV.
Crumb.